Mr Hurley, in relation to ECB monetary operations and wholesale markets for funding, if we had a situation where a financial institution had no access to ECB monetary operations and had not been accessing wholesale markets, would that be an issue of concern to the central bank?
If the ECB wasn't able to?
No. If a financial institution had no access to ECB monetary operations and hadn't been able to access wholesale markets,
that would be an issue, yes.
Would that be a stability issue?
It would be an issue that we would be concerned about, yes.
It would have been brought to the attention of the central bank?
I would imagine it would have been brought to the attention of the particular unit in the central bank, yes.
So, Mr Hurley, from the evidence before me, and I'm led to believe that this evidence, a copy of this document, has been submitted to you and your legal team in electronic format, it appears that in the first quarter of 2008, there was an individual institution that had no access to ECB monetary operations, had not been accessing the wholesale markets for funding in recent months, and were relying on retail and corporate depositive initiatives for liquidity.
I don't think I've seen that document. This is the first I've heard of the document, as far as I know. I don't understand what document you're speaking about.
Do you have time here to clarify this?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, do you want to explain the method by which it was communicated?
I believe it was communicated last week, or earlier. It was communicated last week. It was an individual document that was presented to you, Mr Hurley. We outlined that we were going to rely on this for questioning to the Secretariat.
Okay. Well, what I can do is maybe we can clarify this during the break legally, and I'll give you a bit of time to deal with this after in your wrap-up.
Mr Hurley, you've seen the letter that we circulated to your legal team last week. The letter from the Office of the Financial Regulator is clear that there was an individual institution that had no access to ECB monetary operations, had not been accessing the wholesale markets for funding in recent months, and were relying on retail and corporate deposits initiatives for liquidity. Can you clarify to the committee as to whether this was brought to your attention or not?
I have no recollection of this being brought to my attention. It may well have been brought to the attention of the unit within the central bank, but this was not, so far as I can remember, brought to my attention at the time.
Mr Hurley, in answer to a previous question when I asked you if there was a financial institution in a situation like this, when I asked you would this be a financial stability issue, you answered that it would, and that you would expect this to be brought to your attention. Would you concur with what you see in the letter from the Office of the Regulator, that this does lead, or potentially could lead, to a financial stability issue?
It could lead to a financial stability issue, but you would need far more information to be able to assess that. And it seems to me that just on the basis of this alone, I wouldn't be able to come to that conclusion. It really depends whether there was a connection between the different parts of the institution where this was brought to the attention of that part of the central bank that would deal with these issues. I certainly have no recollection of it.
Okay. Can I ask you, because you've said it may be a financial stability issue, how could a financial institution that doesn't have access to ECB monetary financing, doesn't have access to the wholesale markets and hadn't for a number of months and were solely relying on deposits, not be a financial stability issue?
On the basis of what's said here, it comes into that realm, but I would need far more information to be able to assess that. I couldn't come to a conclusion just on the basis of this paragraph, which I've just seen.
Would you be surprised or not that the Office of the Financial Regulator did not bring this to your attention if they didn't bring it to your attention?
No, I'm sure it might have been brought to attention at a different level, but to the best of my recollection, I didn't see this. And it was purely, I suppose, in relation to issues being dealt with a particular institution. The fact that there might have been difficulty with ECB funding at the time, certainly was important, but I have no recollection of being aware of that at the time.